Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great start to your day. And I want to remind everybody, hey, I'm just staying in an apartment for a while, a couple days each week, and then going back and forth between here and Brooksville. And I've gotten some pretty interesting emails about people talking about the color of the background. Um, that shouldn't matter, not to the point of sending me emails or even making comments on here about it. If you don't like the color, sorry, I didn't pick it. And that may sound kind of petty, but it could very well be the people that I'm renting or using the building from might actually be looking through some of the comments from time to time. And I'm just asking, and it's not the majority, it's just a couple, but I just ask you to be sensitive and careful about those things because we live in a world where no one cares what you say. We live in the world of no filters. And a non-filtered world is going to make people upset. And I'm not being petty with it either. I'm grateful I have a place that I can stay for four days a week and then go back and forth. So nonetheless, just be caught. Think about me. Whatever. Hey, let's talk about what's going on in the news tonight. Of course, is the State of the Union address, and Front Page Magazine had an article. Did you realize that the person that's going to be a responder or a response to the State of the Union address is a communist? Basically, governor, Virginia, that sort of thing. And let me just read some of this so you understand that. Look, both parties are very good about staging things. So on Tuesday evening, President Donald Trump will deliver a State of the Union address. Democrats will have tabbed Governor Abigail Spanberger to give a response from the dark side, and the choice is highly significant. Spanberger has been Virginia's governor for just over a month, and in that time, she's hit the ground running with a raft of far left authoritarian policies that will make the people of Virginia more unsafe, poorer, and less able to do anything about it by voting her and her henchmen out of office. The National Democrat Party is giving her this platform, has endorsed what Spanberger has done, and in so doing, given us a clear indication, yet again, of what it really stands for. Now, here's the other thing. The party comrades do all they can to obscure that reality. Spanberger will be engaging in that deception when she delivers her speech, as she plans to give it from Colonial Williamsburg, a place that symbolizes essentially the opposite of what today's Democrat Party is all about, and that's likely why it was chosen to throw people off scent. If you haven't figured it out yet, folks, very few people in Congress, the Senate, or the White House are really being honest about everything that's going on around us at any given time. And people in New York, more power to you. You're finding out how that works there. Some people in the other western states are finding out certain areas like Seattle and Portland. When you start putting people into power that say this and that and are forcing communist ideas and socialistic ideas, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Um, it's just like a senator has been very vocal about he doesn't have a birth certificate, he doesn't have a passport. How do you travel worldwide? And a senator like him is all over the place. You gotta have a passport. So, whatever. Okay, terror alerts. This is InfoWars. Terrorism expert warns that cartel attacks in Mexico are just the tremors before the big ones are coming. And with what happened in Puerto Vallarta just yesterday, the strikes, the taking out of some of the cartel leaders, folks, that's on the southern border. Um, and here we thought for a while the only thing that we have to worry about was immigration. No, 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 no. Here's a good news article. I love this. Fox News. Representative Randy Fine to bring four-legged guest Sadie to Trump's State of the Union amid backlash over X posts. All right. You are aware that in some places like United Kingdom, that the Islamic influence is saying that dogs are haram whatever, and they don't want people having dogs. And so when these people started pushing back, people in Great Britain started going to malls with their large dogs. Now I've only got two small, loud dogs aggressively as well, but I think that's great. Um, Dogs are a right, dogs were made by God, I believe, for humans to have as great pets and family and friends, and great support. But this Representative Randy Fine, his dad has a seeing eye dog named Sadie, and Sadie's going to be there tonight at the State of the Union address. And so I just think that's a great thing. Fox News also had this article: America has a very expensive has a very expensive promises problem, and the bill is coming due. We already knew that. Every 4 years, Americans fall in love with a fantasy. A new president will change the federal deficit. Republicans promise growth that will outrun the debt. Democrats promise taxes on the rich will fix it. And the U.S. debt clock keeps spinning like a Vegas slot machine that only pays out in red ink. As of 2026, the United States owes roughly $38.5 trillion and is climbing about $8 billion a day. $8 billion a day. The net interest payments on the debt officially exceed our annual defense budget. We're not arguing politics anymore. We're arguing arithmetic. So what we have here isn't a failure to communicate. We have a failure to govern righteously and rightly. And they won't do it. And we can vote them all out, folks, but there's such a trend and such a pan, and you get the support and the aides and all this. They're all steeped in this traditional, let's outspend everybody else. I think we can officially say the government honestly doesn't care about the individuals or the citizens anymore. All right, Fox News article. Are you ready for this? Scientists discover 5,000-year-old bacterium that is resistant to modern antibiotics. So I can just see the science world. Hey guys, look, we just found something that's very toxic, very deadly, cannot be fixed by modern day antibiotics. So let's experiment with it. And let's send remnants of this bacterium everywhere in the world, and so labs everywhere. Let's find that kid in his backyard garage who likes experimenting. Let's send him some and see what happens. And although I jest, there is truth to the matter. I remember the line in Jurassic Park where Elliot, the Elliot Gould guy, not Elliot Gould, but the guy in Elliot was basically saying, did you ever think that you shouldn't have made dinosaurs? Did you ever think that maybe making velociraptors isn't a good idea? I don't know. But I understand that the draw of science to figure things out and do what needs to be done. But I also understand that there's, who knows what's in the biosphere? Who knows what's in the ice? But oh well. Oh well. I think, I think science likes Pandora. I think they want to unlock that and think, and for everything, well, this could help a lot of people. It could also kill a lot of people. No one thinks about that aspect. If you study the history of the hydrogen bomb, the nuclear bomb, the atom bomb, all those things that were out there, when they did the very, very first test, mankind became very, very much aware that they were able to destroy us easily, and not even blink an eye about it. So nonetheless, stay away from crazy things in the ice. All right. Hey, let's get to 1 Chronicles today, chapter 11, verse 4 through 9. David's been anointed king. Saul's off the map. And the world's changing. Israel's changing. And David and all Israel went to Jerusalem, that is Jebus, where the Jebusites were, the inhabitants of the land. And the inhabitants of Jebus said to David, you will not come in here. You're not going to come in here. This is not your land, not your place. We don't care that you're the king. You're not coming in here. And David said, you want to bet? Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, that is the city of David. By going in, yes, Jeff Goldblum. For some reason, I was thinking Elliot. Maybe that was his name on the movie. But thanks for reminding me of that name. Um, I think he had the chaos theory idea, if I'm thinking right. Man, and government's really good at chaos theory in today's world. So David took the stronghold of Zion, that is the city of David. And you got to realize, you got to remember that there were people that were like, we don't want you here. We don't want a king here. We don't want this whole. We don't want this. We don't want you to mess up our four walls. We don't want you to mess up the environment. Things were good here. Inflation was low. Taxes were decent. Your king's coming in. No, we know what you're going to want to build. You know how it is, folks. When that data center wants to be dropped, 2 miles from where you live. And David said, whoever strikes the Jebusites first will be chief and commander. Can you imagine? He's all right, all right. These guys don't want us here. We need the land. We want the land. So whoever strikes him first, whoever pulls the sword first, shoots the arrow first, rolls the tank in, whoever does that first, you will be my chief and commander. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, went up first, and he became chief. All right, hey, everybody watch this. you just see this, Everybody watch, I'm going, and he just goes flying in. And there was this zeal. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine being in David's army? Can you imagine him on a horse leading the troops into battle? Can you imagine riding closely behind King David with a sword in his hand up in the air as he goes charging? I mean, not that I want to be in a war. I was in enough karate competitions and got kicked and hit enough that you're like, oh, this hurts, whatever. But can you imagine that? And these men like David, and we're going to talk about David's mighty men tomorrow. These men literally, they lived for this. They lived for this. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, went up first, so he became chief. And David lived in the stronghold. Therefore, it was called the city of David. First, earlier we see David took the stronghold of Zion. And now David lived in the stronghold, and therefore was called the city of David. His person changed and characterized the name of what Jerusalem would be. Even in today's world, you'll hear references to the city of David from time to time. Why? Because of his character, because of his fighting ability, because of his warring. And he built the city all around from the Millo in complete circuit. And Joab repaired the rest of the city. Joab, the chief and the commander, wasn't just the commander of the army. He had other civic duties and governmental duties to take care of. His job was to make sure that stronghold stayed strong. His job was to make sure the walls were decent. His job was to make, and look, folks, those walls were going to come down eventually. And David became greater and greater, for the Lord of hosts was with him. Do you think much about your property? I've been looking at houses, and be looking at some more this week, and we're seeing all sorts of things. And we're seeing some that we've been happy with. We're seeing some we've been disappointed with. We've seen some that were gone before we even had a chance to make an offer or do anything else. Okay? The property matters. I want to have a fenced-in backyard so that my dogs can run and play and have some time outside with us, and I don't have to worry about a coyote or a bear or raccoons or possums or other crazy cats that show up on our property. I want a fenced-in backyard, and that really isn't. I mean, we could easily build one or whatever, but you're already going to be in with the mortgage and stuff. But there's just certain things that we want. Bedrooms big enough that if our kids come, they can stay. We have a certain price range we're trying to stay in. We have certain storage needs that we're trying to look at. And my wife and I, we have had conversations, and I've had to say several times, we're not going to find everything that we want, most likely, unless God just Look, here it is, that sort of thing. The property matters. And you may not see it in this, but David knew Jerusalem was where he needed to reign from. Not Hebron, Jerusalem. And when he went, he built the city all around. He built the city all around. Now look. Remember, he wouldn't build the temple, but his son would. So he was looking at all these things. And I've looked at houses when it's raining. I've looked at houses when it's snowing for that very reason. And I do appreciate all the advice that you folks have given me. And also, I appreciate all of your prayers as we search. We'll be doing that tomorrow. But your property matters. And I know a lot of folks, they pray over their property. A lot of folks, they pray at their home and stuff. But I want to encourage you to continue to pray for just God's wisdom and God's will to be done where you live. Because where you bought a house or built a house is a strategic location. You've got neighbors. You've got people that pass by that house every day. You got neighbors that watch you get in your car every Sunday morning and go to church somewhere. And you know what? They need to know why you get in your car every Sunday morning and go to church somewhere. You need to be getting to know them and talking to them and finding out about them and just making a difference out there. God's got you where you are for a reason. And I want you to really think about that and pray about that. And every time we've gone to look at a house, I'm looking around the neighbors in the neighborhood, and I've seen some people, and you do the friendly courtesy wave. But every house I'm at, I'm thinking, Lord, if there's neighbors that need to know who you are, and this is it, you got to show me why you're bringing me here. Why this neighborhood? Why this subdivision? Why this empty lot out here, 2 miles from town or whatever? Lord, show me where I need to be. And even if you think that you've made a mistake in where you've built or what you bought or what this that, look, God is able to use you wherever you are. Wherever you are. Wherever you are. I saw a conversation earlier this morning on here about Phoenix. And I think it was Daryl that said you had an aunt that went out there and stayed with a sister or whatever, or maybe some other family member. I saw people saying, I just can't believe it's going to be in the 90s this week. When Keela first moved out there, twice a week I'd get this text message. Hey Dad, guess what? It's 117 degrees, the little smiley face. And I'm thinking, good for you. All right. I like warm weather, but that was a little hot. And then a couple weeks ago, she's like, Dad, you won't believe it. It got down to the 70s here. I'm thinking, oh, we would love to see the 70s right now, because we live in a world of 4 seasons. Well, actually, you live in a world of seasons, and the seasons last like 2 days now, and then you get all 4 seasons in a week or a weekend. It's a pretty cool thing, that global warming has brought to us, I think. But the whole point is, you got to take care of your property. God's got you there for a reason. You gotta think about why he's got you there. And I believe most likely it's about the neighbors. I know it may be that you pick that place because it's close to work, or you're living in a bedroom community and you're trying to find, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a blizzard or not. What matters is that where you live, God has a plan and purpose for your property and why you're there. And there's neighbors and family and friends. I went to college with a guy who lived off campus in an apartment. And and one morning during class, they were at, we would take like 5 minutes of prayer requests. He said, hey, I got a couple people living in the apartment next to me, and I've been trying to reach them. They're really going through a hard time. And they've never been to church. They have no idea what we do. And I just feel such a burden to reach them. And he said, me and my other roommates, we're going to have them over for dinner. We're going to talk to them and try to witness to them. And I just remember thinking, yeah, that's good. That's good, because I'd been 18-year-old living at home, and now I'm a freshman in class. And this is an older couple, an older married couple, and like, well, when I say older, 30s, when you're 18 and people, some of their 30s are just like ancient and elderly and everything like that. But over the next week or two, we found out that they came for the dinner, and this married couple going to ministry, they began to witness to them and began to reach them and began to help them understand who Jesus was, and brought them to church and brought them to Jesus and began to disciple them and help them. And I'll tell you what, it was neat to watch that. Over that, I never met this couple. But over that semester in class, we prayed for that new couple that found Jesus. We prayed for them as they began to deal with situations and challenges and trying to get, where they were at. I mean, it was really neat to see that. And so, folks, you are where you are for a reason. And you may say, well, I'm out here isolated. Somebody knows where you live. And that's not just the government. Somebody knows where you live. And the people that watch you go by their house every Sunday morning or Wednesday night, people have a pretty good idea what's going on. So David knew he had to take Jerusalem. And he did. And he built that. It says, he built the city all around from the middle in a complete circuit. He had a plan. He had a purpose. And he had a commander in Joab in place that shared that vision, that dream. So ask God what he wants to do with your property and where you're at. I'm not trying to sell somebody's pound. Look, that's not what I'm just saying. Look, God's got you there for a reason. He's got you there for a reason. And because he's got you there for a reason, let God's will be done in you and with you and through you. So you can see it. So you can see it. You can live out the dream that God had for you right there. Somebody's asking what a corn crib is. Oh, the old Hoosier roots are coming back. Me and my brother used to play in a corn crib a lot. And hide and seek in the corn crib and throwing ears of corn at people. When you think of a corn crib, it's not some big piece of corn wrapped in a swaddling cloth laid in a manger. That's not what it is. But I got a lot of good memories of my grandpa's house and a corn crib and corn cob fights. Hey, we better pray on this resolve, okay? Lord, I know you got the right house for me and Jennifer in the right location. And I'm praying. I'm just going to pray as I have been. Lord, show us the right house and the right time. The right. Lord, we need your hand on the financing. We need your hand on the price. You know what both Jennifer and I are looking for. And you know where the right one is. And you know what we're going to have to kind of make a sacrifice on and what we won't. So I'm trusting you for that. But I'm also asking God that wherever you put us, Lord, that we'll be able to witness to our neighbors. We'll be able to have good theological discussions and even political and governmental discussions with people and neighbors. I pray, God, that we'll be an asset to that community. I pray that we can bring the presence of God. And when people walk on our property, they will sense a different presence there. I pray, Lord, the people walking by the sidewalks, if we don't have sidewalks, when the people are driving by, they sense there's something different there. Lord, I pray that for every single person listening right now, so that our home can become a place where people gain an understanding of who you are. I pray neighbors and family and friends and those who will be invited to those houses will sense your presence and your love and your touch. And that people want to know why we get up every Sunday morning early and go out with our family to church and then come back afterwards. Lord, I want there to be people that ask those questions of us. David knew it was important to get to Jerusalem. David knew it was important to remove the people that were there. Not just because he wanted something, because, Lord, you had a plan and a purpose. And we see that plan and purpose now in Jerusalem and Israel. We see that the chaos in the world around it and all those that hate Israel. And we see in this passage that you encouraged and inspired David to take it. And we know why. Lord, let your will be done in our worlds, in our lives, in our plans. Father, there are a lot of homes represented by the people that are praying with me right now. And I pray you'll help them to use their homes for your glory, for fellowship, for Bible studies, that their homes will be a place of presence, Lord, that will make a difference there, that will make a difference in that community, in that neighborhood. And help us as believers to understand more and more and more and more and more, Lord, that you put us in a certain place for a certain reason. And Lord, if there are those that have missed it and didn't get the right place, Lord, I know you will still use us regardless. And I pray you take the doubts and the worries and the fears and the concerns away, that you can't use them because they think they made a mistake. God, you work in all things. You work through all things. And so I pray that today, you would use our homes and future homes to be places where you are glorified, you are lifted up, you are felt, and you are seen and heard. Seen and heard, Lord. Seen and heard. And that's my prayer today. That is my prayer today. And I pray it in Jesus' name. Amen. And amen. Hey, tomorrow's from the perch. We were talking about this idea that forsake not the assembly together yourselves. And I got an email, but I also want to highlight something. I know there's a lot of people out there that say, "Oh, the church has failed. The church has failed, and we're not going to go. It's just a man's institution." You know, I keep thinking that Jesus told them to go and wait for the power of the Holy Spirit to fall, so that when they built the church, which was God's idea and the plan of Jesus, Paul trained pastors like Timothy and Titus. And anyway, but we're going to talk about how you respond to those folks that say, "Well, the church has failed." Well, every institution's failed. The church has plenty of failures. But the writer of Hebrews said, "Forsake not the assembly together yourselves." And so we're going to be looking at that tomorrow, helping you with some response on how you talk to people who might be all frustrated, upset about that. But tomorrow morning, it's going to. I've got to be at the office early here in Lawrenceburg, and so I won't probably be on even at 6:30, 7:30, because I'm on Eastern time up here. But it may be 10 or 15 minutes before 8 o'clock before I actually come in the studio and say hello to everybody. Today I really had an issue getting in. I've had to reformat passwords on Facebook. From time to time, I know people are trying to get in and change things. And so I've had to do a lot more security stuff with my Facebook page and that sort of thing. So it's been kind of crazy. But nonetheless, we will tomorrow morning, you'll see me a little bit later coming in, but I'll be there. And then at noon, well, we got to figure that out. It's probably going to be, I'll do 12 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Central, just because that's when it's going to be. And I also got the other thing is, my pump is still on Central Time, and up here I'm on Eastern Time, and I'll tell you, it's like this. So at certain times, my body's like, "You need to eat lunch," or my body's getting a bolus every hour on the hour. So, trying to figure it all out. And I'm over 30, so it's harder to figure stuff out, but nonetheless. So right now, we'll still be 12 o'clock noon Eastern, which would be 11 o'clock Central. And I hope that works. And if it doesn't, we'll meet in the middle, and I'll start doing 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. And, my life in Central Time was easier, but hey, this is what's going to, however. So nonetheless, that will be what's going on tomorrow. So I will be there. I'll be there at 12 o'clock noon Eastern time, at noon o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. So yeah, I'll tell you, depending on where you live, the good news is it's recorded. You can watch it later. Nonetheless, but anyway, I appreciate your patience with all the stuff going on. Tomorrow will be kind of crazy. So, but hey, when is life not crazy anymore, folks? So, hope to see you in the morning, all right? God bless.